of last year when the grand jury decision came down in Ferguson, Missouri, confirming what many people of color had already begun to prepare for. It was just 2 days before Thanksgiving, and I was in South Carolina visiting my family, and that evening I sat around the television with my wife, my mother-in-law, and my wife's younger brother, watching as the prosecutor made his way to the podium and began a speech that I did not quite understand. As he spoke, something welled up in me that evening. It was something that I now understand to be a mixture of anger and sadness and disappointment and a very strong dose of good old American reality. I remember saying to myself, America is still America. That night, a quick glance at social media allowed me to see that a number of my friends and colleagues chose to express their concern and displeasure using the hashtag Black Lives Matter. It was a statement, not just against this decision, but against a statement against a protest against all the recent violence against young, unarmed black men. You know the names: Trayvon Martin, Jordan Davis, John Crawford, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, and too many others. That hashtag, Black Lives Matter, immediately became a rallying cry for a new movement. Yet, as much as I understood and supported the heart of the movement, on the night of the Ferguson movement, something shifted for me. And that shift has guided me in the days that have followed. That night, perhaps a bit out of anger, but I think out of righteous indignation, I tweeted this: I refuse to explain to anybody why Black Lives Matter. That's not my job. And I might have followed it up with 2 or 3 or maybe even 5 exclamation points. I felt that night, and I feel even more strongly tonight, that it is a sad indictment against America that the dignity, self-worth, and value of black lives is somehow still up for debate. And so I refused to explain why Black Lives Matter. More than that, I was frustrated that night, because somehow it had become my responsibility to convince someone that my life matters. Friends, that is the vicious cycle of racism. And I decided that night that I had had enough. And so tonight, in what would have been Dr. King's 86th year of life, I challenge any and all of us in this room to take on an attitude and a posture that says simply this to the world: of course, my life matters. My life matters not just because I say it matters, but my life matters because I am made in the image of God. One aspect of Dr. King's legacy that is often left underdeveloped or underdiscussed is the fact that Dr. King was a Christian minister. And at the core of his teaching was not good works. It was this belief that says, because we are all children of God, all of us are equally valued and worthy of dignity, fair treatment, and justice. Dr. King believed that. He lived that. He fought for that. And ultimately, he gave his life in defense of that belief, the belief that because we are all children of God, regardless of the color of my skin or the texture of my hair or the slang that I use or the fact that I wear a hoodie, because I am a child of God, I'm worthy of fair treatment, justice, and dignity. And tonight, as we work to understand and internalize this message, we must see and acknowledge, we must see that acknowledging a person's God-given humanity and fighting against any injustice that would effectively deprive them of that humanity, those two things go hand in hand. In other words, I cannot, on the one hand, stand here and say that your life matters, while at the same time refusing to fight against the injustices that threaten your life. So the question becomes for us tonight, what does it look like to fight against injustice? There's a story that I heard years ago that I believe first came from Dr. John Perkins. It was a brilliant illustration that showed exactly what it means to fight for justice. Often justice is confused with things like compassion or mercy. Those things are important, but those things are not justice. And so to help you understand tonight what justice is, I have a little story that I want to tell you, but I need you to imagine with me. Now it's Minnesota winter. And because I love you, in this story, we're going to imagine that it's summer. Imagine it's a summer day, and you are on the banks of the Mississippi River, enjoying a barbecue with a group of friends. You're there, and there's some adult beverages being passed around. I know that's hard to say in a Baptist church, but there are 1 or 2 beverages. We're drinking responsibly. There's music playing, maybe Ben Harper or some other great musician. And as you're there enjoying the company of your friends, suddenly you hear screams. You turn and look out into the water, and you see a man being pulled downstream, drowning, fighting for his life. See, the good news, though, is that you have 15 plus years of lifeguard experience. And so, without even thinking about it, you jump into the dangerous waters and you pull this man to safety. That, my friends, is a picture of compassion. You see a need. You recognize that you have some ability to address that need. And so, you respond to the need. That's compassion. Compassion asks a couple questions. Compassion asks us, where is the brokenness in the world? And what is my immediate, obedient response to that brokenness? That, my friends, is a picture of compassion. But we go a little farther. Imagine you're standing there with this guy. He's gathering himself. Just having been pulled from the mighty Mississippi. And as you're talking to him, again, you hear behind you a scream. You look out into the water. And there you see another man being pulled downstream, fighting for his life. Again, you're a lifeguard. And so you jump out into the water and you also pull that man out of the river. And you step in to help him regain himself. But there's one of your friends there. Let's call this friend, let's call her Beth. Beth recalls a terrible accident that she had as a teenager. An accident where she almost drowned herself. Beth develops deep empathy for this man because she knows what it is to almost drown. And so Beth steps in and takes the care to the next level. She goes above and beyond the call of duty. Friends, that's a picture of mercy. Beth was able to see herself in that man's condition. And out of her thankfulness for her own deliverance, out of her feelings of genuine gratitude for her own health at this point in her life, she felt compelled to bring healing to this man. That's mercy. Mercy asks the question, who is broken? Who is in need? Who is my neighbor? And how can I care for them in the very same way that someone cared for me? There's compassion. There's mercy. But friends, I believe that the scriptures call us to something deeper. I believe they call us to justice. Now, the image of justice is this. You saved 2 men in the matter of minutes. Your friend Beth has stepped in and cared deeply for this man. But as you're standing there talking, you hear another set of screams. And you turn and you look. And this time there are 3 people being pulled downstream, drowning, fighting for their lives. You're trying to make sense of all this in your head. You rescued the first guy. You rescued the second guy. Better cared deeply for the second guy. And here you are again, challenged to now save not 1, not 2, but 3 more people. And as you're sitting there thinking about it, the first guy that you saved says, hey, I need to tell you guys something. There's a crazy guy down on the other side of that wall throwing people into the river. Compassion says, let's just get these people out of the water. Mercy says, let's get them out of the water and let's care for them deeply. But justice says, I'm going to get the biggest friend that I have, and we're going to walk upstream and get this crazy guy to help him stop throwing people in the water. That's the image of justice. And that, my friends, is what I believe the scriptures call us. That is what Dr. King was about. You see, justice is the term that we use to describe the work of God in confronting and overcoming evil and sin, both individually and systematically in the world. Justice asks us a couple questions. Justice asks us, why does brokenness exist in the first place? Justice asks us, how do we address the causes? And how do I join with God in making all things new? Friends, compassion may cost you a few dollars. Mercy may cost you a few tears and a little bit of heartbreak. But justice will cost you your very life. Now that might seem scary to some folks. But Dr. King heard the call to justice as a very young man, and he gave his life in pursuit of it. And just as God called Dr. King to justice so long ago, God is still calling each and every one of us to experience true life by being willing to lay down our lives for justice. And so tonight, as I close, I say that like Dr. King, may each of us pursue God's justice by courageously calling evil the things that God says is evil, and by being courageous to call good what God says is good. Like Dr. King, may we pursue God's justice by pouring out acts of mercy and compassion, especially on the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the oppressed. Like Dr. King, may we pursue God's justice by lending our power, our influence, our voice, in order to challenge the broken systems in this world, especially when they can benefit the least of these. And like Dr. King, may we pursue God's justice by reminding ourselves and reminding those around us that although there are some difficult days ahead, we as a people will still get to the promised land. Friends, that is the confidence that we have. Not confidence in ourselves, but an overflowing confidence in the God of the universe. And my prayer tonight is that that God, the all-wise, all-powerful, all-seeing God, He will bless us and keep us, and even go before us as we join hands together and move towards a common goal of justice. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you.